In part 1, we watched Matt Armstrong try to fire up his Ferrari 296 GTB, and it just wouldn't start. The culprit turned out to be the control module sitting inside the hybrid battery. He sent it out to be inspected and repaired, but the team couldn't clear the crash data from it. Dead end. So as things stand, Matt has no choice but to take the car directly to Ferrari, and before he can do that, they told him the car needs to be fully reassembled first. That's their condition. So let's get into part 2 of the Ferrari 296 GTB rebuild, and make sure you're subscribed to Aboyos so you don't miss where this wild ride ends up. Let me break down exactly what the problem was. The faulty component is the BMS, the battery management system. This module is responsible for monitoring and controlling the charge going in and out of the battery, and it feeds live data directly to the ECU. When that module goes down, the entire car goes with it. Matt actually dealt with something very similar during the Lamborghini Revuelto rebuild. You can check that one out on the channel. Since the airbag specialist team couldn't fix the BMS module and couldn't wipe the crash data, Ferrari is the only option left. But again, the car has to be fully put together before they'll even look at it. So Matt gets straight to work. Reassembly begins. First up, the side skirt. Before bolting it on, he connects all the cooling line fittings hiding underneath it, making future access way easier. The new skirt goes on, excess material trimmed, clamped in place. He's waiting on Bobby to come through and handle the welding. Meanwhile, he grabs the rear light section, fits it in position, and checks the gap against the new quarter panel, comparing it to the reference on the opposite side. Bobby arrives and gets straight to work. Mounting brackets welded first, then the seam welds, then tying the sill to the quarter panel. Clean, solid work. While the welding is happening, Matt reassembles the hybrid battery and gets it ready to go back under the car. Welding done. Time to move forward. He starts by plugging in the ECU connector and locking it into place. Every sensor harness that was unplugged gets reconnected. Fuel tank lock reinstalled. From behind the skirt, the fuel and sensor connectors go in, plus the ventilation mesh. Radiator fitted on the side. Fuel tank cover on. And that whole side is finished. Battery time. Car goes up on the lift. Battery slides in from underneath. Matt climbs into the cabin to run the mounting bolts. Ferrari's design philosophy means the car will only agree to start when everything is properly connected. Airbags, sensors, all of it. He fits the battery brace from underneath, torques the bolts, and connects every orange high-voltage cable. Once done, he routes them clear of the hydraulic lines. Seats come out again to make installing the curtain airbags easier. The replacement units have finally arrived. He bolts in the right side airbag first, then mirrors the same process on the left. Seats go back in, bolted down to the floor, all roof wiring reconnected so the computer has full visibility of the car. Doors next. Electrical connectors first, then mount onto the hinges. Front light harness plugged in. Rear bumper on. And finally, the main battery connector, located at the passenger footwell, just like before. The moment that connector clicks in, the dashboard lights up, turn signals come alive, everything looks like it should. Matt goes for it, hits the start button. Nothing. Hybrid system fault. Again. Genuinely gutting after everything they've been through, Matt starts to appreciate just how complex hybrid supercars really are. The technology makes diagnosing faults incredibly difficult and frustrating. He decides to shelve the start issue for now and orders the exterior body kit parts to keep the build moving forward. The body kit arrives. Ferrari actually allows you to purchase parts using your chassis number, but Matt managed to source everything he needed without one. He also picked up a full exterior kit. The rear bumper goes on first. He test fits it against the car, then bolts on the ventilation mesh. He pulls the parking sensors off the old bumper and transfers them to the new one, drilling out the holes in the mesh to fit them properly. The wiring loom from the old diffuser gets moved over. Camera unbolted from the old unit and remounted on the new one. Sensor ports drilled out and fitted. Crash bar prepped with mounting points for the new components. New rear lights fitted and connected on both sides. The rear diffuser goes on. And Matt steps back to check the overall look. It's already starting to come together. Now here's an interesting difference between this spec and the standard car. The exhaust exits are actually visible through the new rear grille on the GTE version, which looks completely different from stock. Matt gets to work removing the old exhaust system. He pulls the downpipes off the turbos, while simultaneously prepping the new Valvetronic exhaust system. The new pipes get fitted into position. Outer covers installed. Bobby arrives again. This time his job is fabricating new mounting brackets for the exhaust. While Bobby handles that, Matt works on the front bumper. He transfers the parking sensors across, drilling the mesh to get them seated right. The new door is prepped, all parts from the old door transferred over and fitted. Gaps check out perfectly. Glass goes in, door seals fitted. The exhaust system is welded up and connected. They test fit the rear bumper to check the final result, and it looks exactly like they wanted. Then comes a frustrating wait. Ferrari stops sending parts. A whole month goes by with no deliveries. Matt chases the manufacturer and eventually finds out the issue. His car is registered as a standard 296, not the GTE Challenge spec. Ferrari knows this from the chassis number, and the GTE parts simply aren't being released for his build. That creates a whole separate problem. To fit the new front bumper properly, he needs to swap out the front radiators for the larger units from the Sport spec, which normally sit in the front trunk on that version. Without them, the new bumper physically can't be fitted to the old cooling setup. While he figures out a workaround, he ships the car off to the body shop to be properly prepped and painted. The shop sands everything down, applies the sealant coat, then the standard primer across all panels. And the color? They go back to the original factory color. No changes. Car returns to the workshop. Matt gets back to the rear end, rear wing and spoiler installation. Bobby cuts the sections needed on the rear chassis mounting structure, drills new holes in the crash bar, and fabricates mounting points for the wing. He assembles the support arms onto the crash bar. The rear panel between the lights gets fitted, modified to remove excess material, and installed cleanly. Then the spoiler wing itself goes on for a test fit. And the car instantly looks wider and more aggressive, way more planted. First time anyone's fitted this kit to a Ferrari 296, and it looks absolutely wild. Everything comes back off. The rear panel gets sent to the body shop to treat the cut edges, and Bobby comes back to do the final welds on all the components. A small but important discovery. While removing the side sills to replace them, Bobby finds a small control module mounted underneath. One on each side. The left side is completely fine. The right side? 2 wires completely severed, disconnected entirely. He strips the insulation back, splices them back together, solders them for a solid connection, and seals everything back up. Matt gets a boost of motivation from this. He remembers what the Ferrari engineers told him. Everything has to be connected for the car to start. Every single thing. So he goes through the whole car again, reconnecting whatever he can find. He hooks up the battery cable, checks the dashboard, and this time the car is showing a message. It's telling him to put it on charge directly. He does exactly that, leaves it charging, and keeps working on the rear end. The rear panel arrives back from the body shop, and it goes straight into its final mounting position. Number plate lighting and final exterior details. Matt wires up a custom light for the rear plate, runs new wiring, and cuts a clean aperture to feed it through the new rear bumper. The full rear bumper assembly goes on and locks into place. Engine cover fitted onto its hinges, rear wing bolted on, new side sills installed, and just like that, the entire rear of the car is finished. Nothing left to do back there. Matt moves to the front. He manages to convince a racing team to supply the larger radiators he needs. They arrive, but there's a catch. The new radiators don't have an air conditioning condenser because the Sport spec car doesn't come with AC at all. He'll deal with that later. For now, the build keeps moving. Plastic air guides removed. Old radiators pulled out. New ones dropped in. Holes drilled into the chassis rails for the mounting points. Radiators secured. Inlet and outlet fittings connected. They're not fully braced underneath yet since the brackets still need to be fabricated. That's a job for later. Fan connectors plugged in. With the cooling sorted, Matt can finally work on the front face. He test fits the bumper, fabricates new mounting points on the crash bar and front splitter, front lips and canards positioned, headlights fitted on both sides, canard braces connected to the crash bar, bumper locked into final position, front splitter mounted. To make sure it'll handle the downforce at speed, Matt actually stands on it to test the strength. It holds. Everything checks out. New bonnet arrives. Matt fits it to the car, installs the larger ventilation grille, oversized compared to stock, to handle the heat from this 830 horsepower monster. The bonnet hinge bases go on. This car opens differently from a normal Ferrari, by the way. And the front end is essentially complete. Back to the start problem. Someone advises Matt to try a brand new airbag module. Completely fresh. Not a reset unit. Even though he'd already sent his original one out to be recoded, he orders a new one from Ferrari for $400. It arrives fast. He swaps it in. Same result. Car won't start. He pushes on regardless. Headliner reinstalled. A technician comes in to refit the windscreen. Old sealant scraped off, fresh sealant applied around all the edges, glass pressed into position and left to cure for several hours. Front trunk liner bolted back in. New wheels fitted. The last hope. Before Ferrari. Matt's friend, his final option before going to the dealership, does a full electrical inspection of the car. They run through attempt after attempt. Nothing works. Matt calls Ferrari directly. Nobody can help him, because the car was never repaired at their facility in the first place. As far as Ferrari is concerned, this car doesn't officially exist in their system. It's basically warranty voided from their perspective. This situation is almost identical to what happened with the Lamborghini Revuelto. After that battery swap, Matt had to take it to the official service center so they could reprogram everything through their proprietary software. Ferrari is no different, except Ferrari is flat out refusing to touch this car because it was never brought to them for repair. Matt is genuinely stuck in a loop. Every time they solve one problem, another one surfaces. Now they've discovered the car has stopped charging. even though it was charging fine at the start of this episode. They decide to leave that issue alone for now. A change of pace. To break the frustration, Matt decides to do something fun. He adjusts the ride height. He'd bought a new coilover kit a while back, and now's as good a time as any to install it. The car sits lower, looks meaner, and honestly, even in this state, it's one of the most aggressive-looking 296 anyone has ever seen. So where does this leave us? The car looks absolutely stunning. Sport body kit, aggressive stance, that rear wing, the Valvetronic exhaust. Visually, it's transformed. This is genuinely the first time anyone has fitted this full GTE kit to a 296 on camera. But it still won't start. Whether Matt finds a solution, whether Ferrari eventually cooperates, whether the battery needs a full replacement, none of that is settled yet. And honestly, that's what makes this build so fascinating to follow. Drop your prediction in the comments. Do you think he gets it running in part 3? Make sure you're subscribed to Aboyos so you catch it the moment it drops. See you there.